And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Korean StarCraft League, to the KSL week number 53. We just wrapped up with some matches from the round of 16 and the quarterfinals. Now we are back with the semifinals and the grand finals thereafter. Oh boy, we just saw classic takedown trap in a PvP, and now we're here to embrace something different, a PvT instead. Classic versus ByuN. Let's go. Of course, ByuN, one of the stronger Terran players in all of South Korea. When it comes to these online events, Maru is not really seen too often, but we see ByuN, we see Kure, we see Ryung, we see plenty of these other big top Terran players face off, and I love that ByuN is a part of this. For those that are unaware, Korean Terran players are a rarity in the KSL because this is a little bit earlier in the day. This is around noon. This is around noon on a Saturday, and we rarely get to see Gumiho, Kure, ByuN, and we even asked them about it. We're like, yo, what's going on? And they're like, it's too early, Papi. It's too early in the morning. So the Korean Terrans, they're a little bit more degen. They like to sleep in. I mean, it's a weekend. Sleeping in the weekend, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. But alas, that's why we often don't see them in the KSL, and it's a little bit more Protoss and Zerg dominated, with players like Hero, Classic, Dark, and Shin. So that's kind of the reasoning for that. We do have confirmation of that as well. That's why we see more Terran representation in ESL Asia, for example, which is later in the day, far later in the day instead. But again, I appreciate that ByuN, he was willing to wake up early today, you know, noon. Let's go. Did wake up a little bit earlier and is now facing off against Classic. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Let's go. Jumping into game one on site Delta. Jumping into site Delta here. Again, ByuN and Classic, very comparable players. Classic being top 2 Protoss in all of Korea. ByuN likewise being a top Terran player in Korea as well. I'm willing to embrace this, as spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. We go. TvP is here again. ByuN, I'm of course reminded of what we saw over the weekend. Over the weekend a little bit. I say over the weekend. During ESL Open Cup Asia, we also did feature ByuN as well. If you recall, we saw ByuN versus Kure in the semifinals. I mean, we didn't quite get to see it. It was over on the Korean channel and Into the Inu. And ByuN, he was able to have a fabulous TvT there. Went all the way to the late game. So I'm curious how he does approach the TvP matchup. Historically, ByuN has been very active, very bio-centric, and very bio-heavy, relying a lot on Marine Marauder and drop play as well. I'm curious if that is still the case, especially in recent times. We'll be keeping an eye on ByuN. Likewise, Classic, more often than not, willing to embrace the more classic Phoenix Colossus style, potentially earlier Blink, or Twilight Counts with the Blink into 3 gateways. Into a 3-way setup. We shall see. As for now, just gate expanded to Cybercore. A bit of a greedier build here by Classic. More often than not, we see Protoss players delay the expansion and go for the Cybercore first. Classic going for the faster Nexus. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN opening up double gas. Okay, you have my attention. With this double gas opener, it leads into a faster factory, into a delayed command center. And with this kind of setup, we have options. We can go Reactor Reaper Hellion, we can go for a Mine Drop, we can go for Cyclones, hello, or we can set up for some drop play. Hello, Mr. SCV. Oh, where are we going? I was about to say that we're set up to go for a Starport, to go for some Hellions, but okay, there we go. I was like, where are we going? SCV turns back around. It's going to be a Stargate opener out of Classic, and I believe a proxy Starport from ByuN. There it is. Starport is on the way. This should be for medevac production for a Hellion drop into the main. Now, we've seen Hellion drops just straight up win TvPs. They have just popped off and roasted Mineral Lions in just one game from there. We'll see if Classic can keep up with this, can get a read on what is going on. See if he can. For now, back at home with the Stargate opener should be for Phoenixes. We could open up Oracle. We'll keep an eye on Classic. Just settling in. Has an Adept across the map, and there it is. It's going to be an Oracle opener out of our Korean Protoss. Okay, with this, we're going to be harassing across the map. Could be going up to even a second Oracle as well. We'll be delaying Phoenixes, and that means that this drop is going to pop off. Marines move out. I love that these Marines, basically their goal is to shut down the Adept, is to make sure that there is no scouting from Classic, that he does not see this coming. Adept does fall back, and that means that the Hellions, they break out. Hellions do break out, and actually I assumed that this was just going to be a Hellion drop into the main, but no, it's going to be a Marine drop into the main. And Hellions towards the natural. Okay, a bit of a multi-pronged attack here out of ByuN. How does this all come together? Even the SCV? Okay. The Oracle is chilling back at home, thankfully. We have 3 Adepts, we have the Oracle. Diving into the main. Adepts are in position, we force the pickup. At the same time, Hellions towards the natural, but ooh, the wall is solid. And we do defend. 1 probe goes down. Marines dropping back over. Hellions rotating as well. Adepts are within range. Barely not. The SimCity working against Classic here. Ooh, the Adepts taking a lot of damage. Viking has arrived. Okay, as we are just... yeah, we're going to be producing Vikings here for the proxy. Cybercore under fire. Yeah, it's going to go down. There's no saving it. Backup Cybercore on the way. Prepared to lose. Or prepared to lose the Cybercore. Backup Raxes. Getting to our 3-1-1. To rotate over towards the natural instead. Stalkers getting in position. Adepts as well. Good juggling here out of ByuN. Just barely save that cycle, but we have the overcharge. Yeah, we can hold. Classic does hold, and he doesn't even lose the Cybercore. Bappy, let's go. Holds onto his natural, holds onto his main. So far, the wall is solid. And across the map, the Oracles, they're going ham. They eviscerate the economy. SVs are going down left and right. We do have an Oracle to defend, but barely any mining. At the same time, Hellies, they get into the main! The probes! Oh my god, they almost line up. Do line up, volley's gonna be going up. 9 probes go down. At the same time, we're pushing in towards the natural. Once again, the hot pickup of the Cyclones. But the Immortal does focus one of them down. Ooh, the Viking as well. We do bleed out the Immortal. A very chaotic push here. Shield battery falls, no more overcharge. But it's basically pure Marine. And Vanilla Marine at that. Yeah, we're being cleaned up. GG gets called. ByuN, he runs out of steam. He cannot break through. He lost everything back at home. And Classic survives, taking the first game. Whew. GG. Classic does weather the storm. Again, ByuN, he had 18 SCVs back at home. He lost so many workers to the Oracle harass. And likewise, he barely did not break the back of Classic. It was close. It was close for Classic, but Classic did hold. And with that, Classic takes a 1-0 lead. From here, we're going to be settling into Game 2. Going to be settling into Oceanborn. Whew. And again, just a very aggressive build initially out of ByuN. I assumed it was just going to be a Hellion drop, but no, it was going to be Marine drop, plus Hellions, plus Vikings proxied across the map. Again, it was just hyper-aggression out of ByuN. He was so committed. Alas, didn't break his opponent in the end, and now we're going to be calming things down. We're going to be settling into Game 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Classic. Let us go. Whew. Again, in that last game, ByuN was one base all in. Was completely all in on the one base. Had no expansion. Had no follow up. It was all or nothing for ByuN. And alas, Classic did end up holding. And yeah, I'm a little bit in shock. We often don't see one base all ins out of ByuN. We see that out of players like Gumiho, out of Oliveira. So really interesting to see ByuN embrace that as well. We do see Classic checking the Classic proxy location. Very common to go for the proxy here and then float it into the main. Classic does confirm. And ByuN back at home, back across the map, is opening up economically. This time, only one gas. Only the one gas geyser. So ByuN not going to be anywhere near as tech heavy, going for the racks into CC on the low ground. Command center is going to be on the way. Probe does dip in to confirm. And the probe will get eyes on the lack of second gas. Command center already on the way. So this time we actually expand. we did not see an expansion last game out of ByuN, so this time we're able to settle into a longer macro game. Interesting, prioritizing the tech lab. Okay, are we going for fast marauders? I would assume so. ByuN being active. Yep, Marauder opener here out of ByuN. Now, the goal here for ByuN is to catch the initial Adepts or Stalkers. The way this works is that Classic should be moving out. He should be active with these initial gateway units. And the last thing he's going to be expecting is Concussive Shell. So, with good enough control from ByuN, we can catch the initial gateway units and completely shut them down as the Adept is moving out. Meanwhile, once again, Classic opening up Stargate. Maybe a Stargate opener. We saw last game it was for Oracles. This time we'll see if we embrace Oracles once again or go for Phoenixes. First Adept does move out. Concussive Shell finishing up just in time. Would you have the one Marauder already? And there we go. We do get the slow on the Adept. The Adept is going to be shut down. Do we get the Marine? We do not. Nice control out of ByuN. Does manage to get away. As long as we can stutter step and keep up with the Adept, we can focus it down, and it looks like we will. So a nice initial catch. Adept does fall, and now we can push out. Back at home, we have the one Adept. Oracle's on the way. No safety shield battery here for Classic. Thankfully, though, ByuN is staying back at home. He's not pushing. Doesn't risk it. Chilling back at home, getting into his own 3-1-1 setup. Ooh, okay, talking about aggression. We saw in game 1, ByuN embraced the 1-base all-in. I'm curious if this is the beginning of a 2-base all-in. What I'm referring to, I don't see a starport. We have a 3-rack setup before the starport. This is the beginnings of a 2-base all-in. With this, we can just build up a bio account, prioritize stim, and pull the boys. If we see a starport, then we can go towards medevacs, drop play, and take a third and expand. Otherwise, we could just be hyper-aggressive. We have the eBay that's going to be for +1. Bearing in mind, it's only the one eBay for the one upgrade. Keep an eye on the production. Marines are fanning out. Meanwhile, Classic is taking a third. Okay. So Stargate, Oracle opener into a third base. Oracles are moving out. We do have 2 Oracles. They can one-shot probes or one-shot SCVs. Damage can be done. As ByuN barely does, catch a glimpse. And does he respond? He's got units. He's got units in position. Starport is indeed on the way. Okay, so we're not going for the 2-base all-in. Starport for that medevac production. Cyclone in position. Oracles don't get much done. And will be deflected. Now, as we're building up on 2 bases, ByuN will still have a bit of a power spike here with stim. Can still be quite assertive. Marine goes down. And ByuN is going to be pushing out. Or even catching an Oracle. Very nicely done here. First Oracle goes down. Second one does spot the move out. And confirms that we still have saturation here at the natural. So we have not pulled the boys. Classic getting ready back at home. We have a shield battery. We have a second shield battery on the way. Overcharge going to be available. And ByuN shouldn't be able to achieve too much. I mean, he does have stim. Does have potential to dive on in. Does have potential. Getting a lock on. Not quite committing. And stasis trap on the way. Observer does get eyes on this, and ByuN pulls back. I appreciate this. ByuN, he confirms that, okay, you're set up, you have shield batteries, 2 of them even. I'm just going to pull back, calm things down, and get ready to expand. Medevacs are rallying across the map. Third TC soon to be on the way, as the SCV's on location. And ByuN even going for some drop play, okay. So he has reinforcements, keeping the army busy at the third base. And we drop into the natural. And can we get some economic damage done? Looks like we can. 3, 4, 5 probes going down. Not quite depowering the bay. But we do get a pylon. And we go for the bay itself. Ooh. Does survive. Doesn't quite go down. ByuN dropping on the low ground. Phoenixes are on the way. And ByuN is expanding. Is getting a third. At the same time, does threaten the third base. Leading out a Cyclone. Not getting too much here. Shields are triggered. But we have a Phoenix Colossus set up here from Classic. Extended lance on the way. ByuN picking up, dropping into the main. 2 drops active right now. Towards the main, towards the natural. The Phoenixes do catch the Medivacs. No! Do have to boost away just barely in time. 1 Medivac doesn't go down. At the same time, we drop into the natural. Once again, that rover, that bay is exposed. And this time, can we get it? Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, we barely don't. The base survives once again with the overcharge. We keep it alive. Classic is holding. Is surviving. Behind this, third base getting saturated. ByuN pulling back. Now, thankfully, ByuN hasn't lost too much. You can see here he bled out a Cyclone, he bled out 7 Marines, hasn't lost any Marauders, hasn't lost any Medivacs. No major losses yet for ByuN. What I'm referring to is his army has been able to build up. He's been able to sustain his army, build it up over time. Now hit quite strong here at the third. Overcharge was just popped. It's on cooldown. We stim on in. We stim on forward. The Colossus able to stand strong, though. We do have a Zealot buffer for the Robo army. Classic is holding. Observer gets caught out. ByuN does have to pull back, getting into Viking production. Vikings on the way. Vikings are on the way. Again, that will help against the Colossus. Will help against the Phoenixes as well. Ghost Academy getting ready for, I imagine, a 4CC. We're going to be able to embrace a longer game. I'm ready for it. We haven't actually seen much mid-game today. Like, I mean, I guess we saw 4 bases at a Hon Mono, but that was a very different kind of TvP. Likewise, we saw a split map scenario between Classic and Trap, but that was also more of an oddity. That was, was a very different kind of setup. So we do see ByuN with the 4th. Likewise, Classic also taking his own 4th base. I will say that Classic's 4th is a little bit delayed. Something could have been thrown down earlier after the initial deflection. Stasis does go off. And we have +1 air attack on the way. Let's go. I mean, Classic in this matchup, he's known for rushing into Skytoss whenever he can. We still at least have multiple forms of splash damage. I mean, Storm is about to finish, +2. Immortal production. But can a Classic get away with a Fleet Beacon, a 2nd Stargate, and carrier production? We can, we will get there. Vikings threatening the Colossus. Takes down the Observer. There's the 2nd Stargate, there's the Fleet Beacon. And are we too greedy? Zealot run by does distract the army of Zealots at the natural, Zealots at the 3rd base. The entire army turns around. Classic dragging ByuN all the way back home. SCVs are going down. Oh my god, 9, 10 SCVs. Zealots wreaking havoc in the main base and at the 3rd. Even catching reinforcements. We barely don't get the Ghost. But a very nice counterattack here by Classic. It doesn't just get damage done, but it also forces back the entire army, and it gives Classic the breathing room he needs to get into Skytoss. The carriers, they're coming. They're on the way. At least we do have the setup. There it is, 1st carrier in production. And ByuN is in the dark. ByuN is not fully aware now. Thankfully, because of ByuN's composition, going for a very marine-heavy style with Ghosts, with EMPs, and with Vikings, we just some anti-air. And we have the 7 Vikings in the sky. Taking 3 Vikings at a time. catching zealots. Once we realize what's going on, we should be going for a more bio-heavy composition, or I say bio-heavy. We should be throwing down additional starports and getting ready for liberators, like Viking Lib. But for the time being, ByuN is in the dark, and I believe ByuN, okay, thankfully does have +1 ship weapons. Has yet to begin +2. Oracle goes down, we get the revelation. Scan reveals the main army. Ooh, massive state. Oh my god. We catch off the army in Classic. He could try to dive on this. It does push forward. He could either dive on the army or just wait to storm. Oh, this is a brutal cache here. The Colossus are a bit exposed. We have to be careful. Show us the storms. One Colossus go down. The second almost. Yeah, the Bio army does stem forward, and it looks like Classic overextends. Bleeds out the Colossus, bleeds out of the Immortals, everything goes down. I like the idea, but Classic, in the blink of an eye, will lose everything. GG gets called, and ByuN very quickly takes game number 2. GG. I like the idea of like catching the Stasis army, but like rubbing up against the army with your Colossus of all things was terrifying. Immediately, the Colossus they just focused down immediately. We stormed, but likewise, the storm was also on top of the Protoss army as well. Like that was a brutal fight. I understand the temptation, though. I understand the temptation. GG. GG, well played. It's one of those things where like oh my, like I caged a bear. Like it's amazing. I can do whatever I want to it. It's like, Papi, it's still a bear. Like that was like he stasis trapped like 8 marauders. He like there were like 2 ghosts in there as well. Like that was still an army to be respected. It's not like we had disruptors to like time the Nova, right to connect with the units or anything like that. We had Storm, which takes time, especially against marauders. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting ready for the ace match. Getting ready for the ace match here. Getting ready for game 3. It's that's one of those moments where like you can have like a freeze frame of Classic's face. It's and like there's if we had face cams, it's like this is the moment where Classic realized that he messed up, you know? like mistakes were made, Papi. Mistakes were made. Aye. But here we go. We're settling into game 3, the ace match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkion, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. We go. Also, before I forget, in the middle of that game, a shout out to Chileno in the chat. Chileno Singaporean subscribing with the Twitch Prime for 40 months. That's a lot of months. Thank you so much, Chileno. Papi, gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for the support for so long, for so many years. We do appreciate it. Long time supporter of the channel. Gracias, papi, gracias. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. And welcome to the KSL. Always good to see you, Papi. Always good to see you. I see the he's just like me. Hashtag relatable, Papi. True. You see a big stasis, you just jump on the army, right? Oh no. A whole lot of months. See. But for now, we're settling in. Getting into our ace match is going to be a much more standard opener here. Gate expand out of Classic. Likewise, ByuN opening up double gas. Okay, double gas opener. It's going to be a faster factory, delayed expansion. We saw in the previous game, in game number 1, this led into a, not quite a Hellion drop, it led into a proxy starport into a one base all-in, which I was shocked to see. Like, we don't often see one base all-ins in TvP, and alas, it did fall on its face. But from here, we can go into Reaper Hellion, we can go into a mine drop, a committed mine drop, into Cyclone production. I'm curious where ByuN takes us this time. As we are setting up for a CC on the low ground. Once again, Classic embracing the Stargate opener. He's going for a Stargate opener every single game. Classic not one to embrace Blink Stalkers. Not in this series, at least. So it's just going to be purely Stargate production. Most likely into Oracles, then into Phoenixes. Meanwhile, we have our 1-1-1. There's a reactor on the way. We have made a handful of Reaper Hellion, but it's really just for map control. And there it is. The Widow Mines have begun. We're setting up for some drop play. Now getting ready for drop play. Reaper Hellion does catch the Adept. Ooh, first Adept goes down. We does not get the Reaper. Initial Reaper does survive. ByuN moving out. It is going to be the Oracle opener at a Classic. And we do get eyes on the shield battery. Reapers do dip into the main. Yeah, they're going for the full scout. One probe goes down. It's going to cost us the Reapers, and we do not get behind the mineral line. Very nice target fire here at a Classic. Hellion doing what it can. 3 probes full so far. And we get another probe. Oh my god. Not bad. ByuN making the best out of those Reapers. He gets 4 probe kills and a scout. Does confirm the Oracles. And back at home, Cyclones. We have our Cyclone production getting underway. We have our initial Widow Mine drop as well. Again, a Widow Mine drop opener with a handful of Marines. Drop is moving out. And hopefully we're able to defend against these Oracles. So we're headed for the natural. Cyclone is going to be able to finish up, but the Oracle gets here first, and there's nothing at home to defend. We did load up the Marines. Okay, 2 SCV kills. Cyclone does arrive. Same time, we do have our Widow Mine drop here towards the left-hand side. Second Oracle moving out, so drop does come in. And Classic does respond. He does react. Yeah, Marines are dropped as well, focusing down the probes. But the shield battery means we barely lose anything. Oh, the Mine shot! Oh my god. Mine shot could have been brutal. We do pop the overcharge, and Classic does defend. At the same time across the map, we head for the main base. And we head for the natural. Oh, ByuN just moved out. ByuN out of position. Yeah, SCVs are going down left and right. At the same time, the drop in the main base is shut down. We get 6 SCV kills. Getting 8 SCVs. 8 workers go down. The drop is being cleaned up. And both Oracles, they both escape with barely any damage dealt to them. ByuN in a rough position. He's down to 28 workers. He's bled out 10 SCVs so far, and he hasn't done enough, once again rallying everything across the map, and once again leaving his bases exposed. There's not much at home. The Oracles are coming back! They're coming back! The Oracles are coming back in, more SCVs going down. ByuN, we're forced all in. At this point, there's no turning back, there's no turning around. It's all or nothing for ByuN. As we're losing everything in the main base. Here we go. What do we have to work with? We have 1 Liberator, we have a Viking, we have Vanilla Marines. Against an overcharge, we focus down the Lib. The Lib goes down. 2 Immortals as well. There's no breaking this. There's no breaking this position. Meanwhile, back at home, the Oracles, once again, they escaped. We got another 8 workers. The Oracles, they're still on full HP as well. They just ran out of energy. They just ran out of energy, and again, this aggressive style out of ByuN is being punished so hard for being so active on the map and just didn't achieve much with it. Again, it was hoping that maybe Classic would be more defensive. 1 Oracle finally goes down. We focus on every single Marine. The Cyclones as well. GG gets called. There is nothing left to defend, and Classic will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. A very chaotic style there out of ByuN, just hyper aggressive, just never leaving anything at home to defend. And ideally in this position, I'm sure ByuN was hoping that his aggression would force Classic to be defensive, would force Classic to keep his Oracles at home, throw down stasis traps, and again, just respect the army a little bit more. Alas, Classic didn't care. He just kept his, he's like, man, I'm gonna just keep hitting your mineral lines. I'm fine, Bobby. I'm fine. He had his shield berries back at home. He had his immortal production. Back at home, he was safe and sound. He was able to keep up with the drop play and annihilate the economy of ByuN. GG. Congratulations, Classic will be our first finalist of the night, and we are here to determine who faces off against Classic in those finals. Who's it going to be?